All right, I'm down in my basement. I'm going to try another experiment. I have a bunch of glass down here, plants from outside. I have a bunch of tanks, bunch of stuff, bunch of tank supplies, bunch of tanks, glass, like glass from lids that just fell apart or whatever. I save everything. I have so much stuff down here. It's so ridiculous. Bunch of tanks, bunch of tank parts. I'm going to I'm gonna make my own UGF. I have a glass cutter, some silicone. I have to get some more silicone, and I'm going to, because being that I have so many variety of shrimp upstairs, I have the space. I'm not gonna create more space, but being that I have all this excess glass that's already cut, I just have to trim it up to fit what I need. And I'm going to use that. Man, I still can't believe I have so many tanks down here. I could even break down some of these tanks, just take the trim off and then take the sealant, the silicone off. It's just more glass. And I also have a bunch of under gravel filter, so I can actually cut this to fit the UGF box that I'm going to make. So I technically have the parts for. So I have another piece there that I can make my own under gravel filter, or I'll use all this up and then order some more. Yeah, so that's the next project that I'm working on. Because so far the UGF that I have upstairs seems to be working out pretty good. And I'll start with a five. I think I have a 5 gallon over there. Yeah, I have a rimless 5 gallon. I'll start with that one. Make a pretty small UGF to fit in there. I guess I can use this glass right here. I can use that for the base, use that for the walls. A very small one. Put it in the 5 gallon, cycle it, and see how it goes. And I can probably put I want to separate the fancy, the black fancy tigers. Maybe we'll see. All right, so I just finished up the glass portion of the UGF that I'm going to make. Yeah, the silicone job is pretty sloppy. It's fine though. Once this dries, I'm going to just clean it up with like a razor. But yeah, it's measured out. I'm pretty sure it's watertight. This will be a nice size for like a 5 gallon. But yeah, so far so good. It looks terrible. I know it looks awful. But I'm gonna give it a couple of days to cure, and then I'm gonna clean it up and for the next step. Back in my laboratory, I'm still working on this. I'm making my own UGF. So everything is cured now. It's not too big. It's only about, it's not as big as the other ones. It's about a little over 7 inches long. Looks like maybe about 4 inches, 4 inches wide. I'm gonna put this into the fancy red tiger tank, because that tank is just so active, and the pH on that tank is about 6.3. With the almond leaf extract, the pH got down to, I don't want to like overdo it. I can get it down to about 6.2. So I'm going to put this in there. So what I'm going to do now is I ordered these from Temu. These are the shelving for the hosing to get the air down. I guess you have to pop these out, but I don't have the tubing for this. I couldn't find the tubing for these, but I have these extra ones for future projects. So what I'm going to do is I had an under gravel filter, like this one is the more common one you see in the US. I got it from, I think, PetSmart or Petco, whatever. So what I'm going to do is just cut it to fit in here. The good thing about this, the tubing actually locks in. Do I have one over here? Yeah, so it slides in and it locks into place, and I already have the housing to go down there, and it's wide enough to fit a air stone. So I'm gonna cut this to fit slide it down, and then I'll, put the substrate in, and let's see how it goes. But this is the next step, is to get this in. Okay, so here's the finished product, and I have a tube adjustable in height. I added some matting underneath the base of the filter. That's what it looks like from above. I don't think any gravel will fall in. I actually see a lot of people online use this underneath their UGF just in case the gravel falls through, or prevents the gravel from falling through and it doesn't obstruct any air. Maybe if I had done that with the one upstairs, probably would have prevented that cloudiness. It's probably not a bad idea. I didn't do it throughout the hole. I just did it on this perimeter here and right there because I had to cut this. So now I have enough to make another one. The good thing about this is because I can run the air line through that hole right there, and it will hold the air stone in place so it doesn't float. So this is actually pretty good tubing, and also it has the little gate there so that the shrimp can't crawl down inside. So this quality from the Petco under gravel is actually really good compared to the ones that I get from like Temu or China or whatever. This is actually a pretty good one. I think I have one more somewhere. So yeah, this looks good. I'm going to test it out, see how it holds up. I know it's not the prettiest thing, silicone everywhere, but I did my best, and I think it came out okay. Let's see how it works out though in the tank. Okay, so now I have it set up in my little experimental 5-gallon that I'm cycling. Everything looks good. Look, I'm getting pretty good flow. I had to actually cut a hole in the spout to get the tube through because there was a plastic piece that went down and I can't find it. I think the cat did something with it. So I'm just going to leave it like this for a few days. This the substrate is somewhat already cycled. Again, this is the substrate I took from the excess from the 40 breeder I had. Everything looks to be fine. I see that there's air at the bottom, or space, so the substrate isn't hitting the bottom of the UGF. A little bit spill right there, but that was a good reason why. So it's a good idea to have the mat under there, so that way, it collected that extra substrate that fell through it and goes all the way to the bottom, and there's still air going through the mat filter or the sponge or whatever that is. So maybe in the future, that's probably something I'm going to do, is just put a sponge underneath the UGF, so that way if anything falls down, it's not going to obstruct it, but there's still pretty good airflow going through. And in a few days or so, I'm going to put it into the Fancy Red Tiger tank, lower the pH. Also, this makes your tank hot swappable. What that means is, instead of doing a complete reset when the pH is rising in your tank because your substrate is no longer buffering, just always have a UGF ready to go, and you just swap them out, hot swap, without resetting the tank. So that's ultimately the goal, in conjunction with other things like the almond leaf extract that I've been doing. And I'm actually making a massive batch of that and at the moment. But yeah, it's just constant progress, learning, educating, which is, to me, is what makes this hobby more fun than doing fish, because fish is just water, dechlorinate, feed is just too basic and simple for me. But let's see how this one works out. Again, I'll have a spreadsheet collecting all this data. I already know what the pH is on that tank. I'll also test this tank just to see if the pH is going down with this being cycled. And everything is just a big research project at this point until everything is perfected, which probably will never be the case.